Welcome to my messy garage, and I'm going to show you the two pieces of furniture I picked up yesterday. They were free. This one's upside down just because it's a little easier to store it that way. Let me just show you. This one is an Art Deco piece that looks like it's pretty good quality. It's got its issues, but you know, I'm optimistic about it. Now this next piece that I'm about to show you, well, I guess I'll just show you. There's no words to describe. It's a 9-drawer dresser. It was at a furniture refinisher's place and she just abandoned it. It looks like she started work on it. There's some overspray on it. There's some drawers that have, it looks like she started to add wood slats to it and then abandoned that idea. There's some handles here and then there's some missing. None of the drawers fit into the runners. And I keep seeing these furniture refinishing videos of people doing amazing things with really destroyed pieces of furniture. And I thought, maybe I can do something with this. I will not be able to bring it back to wood or anything because the wood on it's not very good to begin with. So I'm going to warn you, this is going to get painted. If I can even bring it back to a point where it will look good painted, I don't know. I've never worked on anything that was so cheaply made and is in such bad shape. So this will be a surprise for you and it'll be a surprise for me because I don't know what I'm going to do with it. Here's a good view of the dresser once I've flipped it upright. The two drawers on the left, front, and middle have slats attached, and I'm not sure what's going on with those. We're going to pull those off and figure it out later. The inside of the drawers are solid wood, and they're in pretty good shape, so that's a bonus. And then down here, you can see somebody's added some slats of wood for some reason, but yeah, those are going to come off. Anyways, so we'll remove those and we'll start from scratch. The material on the exterior of the dresser is laminate, which means this is a faux wood grain which has been imprinted onto the fiberboard. It's made to look like walnut, but it's most definitely not walnut. Sometimes you get lucky and there's a lesser quality, but still nice wood underneath the printed faux wood, but I'm not getting a good feeling about this one. I think I've got all the drawers more or less in the right spots. There's a little bit of tweaking to do, but they're all running smoothly right now. And what I've done is I've looked at the tops here to see if they're fairly matched up. Most of them aren't bad. I'll have to adjust this one a little bit up like that. Same with that one over there. The bottom drawers are lined up pretty well. This one here in the middle of the second row is a little high, so I will lower the drawer slider on that. And then the drawers are fitting fairly well, so that is good. Before I move forward, I'm going to number all the drawers, so I know that I'm going to number all the drawers so I know where they go back after I spent so much time figuring it all out. The other thing that I've noticed is that originally the drawers had pulls in the middle of the drawer fronts. I can see that the holes have been filled in. so the wooden handles have been added at some later date. I like the look of the wooden handles, but I would prefer them on the top of the drawers, and I would also like them to look a little bit more sculptural, not quite so square. Okay, all the slats are removed. The bad news is it looks like this is some sort of fiber board, like a masonite or something. Okay, I know a little bit better how these are constructed now. This is the side of the dresser drawer that is more intact, that has the handle on it. And you can see there is a piece of masonite over some wood, and then another piece of masonite here on the inside. And that is why when I when I pulled off the slats, it pulled off part of the masonite. Because I just sanded this here. And you can see this is the masonite here, and what's left over here is the faux wood finish that was applied to the top of the masonite. So the fronts of these drawers are made out of masonite. I'm going to have to do something with that. But I'm going to have some lunch and ponder some options. I can't spend too much time or money on this because I'm just not going to make a lot of money on it because it's not very high end. So I'm going to have to come up with a solution that isn't going to take a lot of time and money. So all the glue and paint is off, and I've sanded down the masonite. It's nice and smooth. Here's the patch holes that somebody patched before me. The sides are solid wood, the back solid wood, and so is the bottom here. I'm pulling off all the wood handles. At this point, my plan is to get some more of the same kind of wood to make 3 more handles so all the drawers look the same. Okay, after working on it for a couple hours today, this is where I'm at. I've removed all the handles. I've got the drawers in the positions that I want, that I think they fit the best. And I have taken off the bottom 2 drawers, I've taken all the slats off, and I've sanded back to the masonite, as well as this one here. And I think that is going to be good enough to paint on. So I'm going to give that a try. I think it's nice and smooth and it will look okay once the paint is applied. So that's the plan right now. Next step is I need to order some sandpaper because it takes 80 grit to get everything off the front. So I've run out of that, so I've ordered some more. But in the meantime, what I will do is I will sand all the exteriors of the drawer at 120 grit, which seems to work fine, and I will repair a couple of the rungs that the drawers slide on. And yeah, that's what I'll do. Sorry, I'm thinking as I'm talking, which is not always a great thing with me. So what I'll do in the meantime, while I'm waiting for the 80 grit to come, is I will sand all the, whoops, let me get this. I'll sand all the inside of the drawers and the exterior of the drawers at 120, because that's good enough for that. It just needs 80 grit on to get rid of all this white paint. And I will repair some of the rungs, like this one here. I'll show you. That one's cracked. I think there's one more that's cracked. And also, I noticed there's some chipping. Oh, that might not be a chip, actually. That's just paint missing, but there's some chips out of here. So I'll go along the bottom and maybe take that apart and see if that needs repairs as well. Just do as much repairs as I can, waiting for the sandpaper to arrive. The other thing that I can do right now is where I took off the handles, there's holes where all the little nails were. I don't think I'm going to put the handles back at the bottom. I think I'm going to put them at the top just because they're easier to grab, especially the bottom drawer. I always hate handles at the bottom on a bottom drawer because it's just too far to reach down. I'm assuming I'm putting the handles back. Right now, that's my assumption. So I'm going to patch this. Here's all the sides that I've sanded. Just cleaned it up. It looks a lot better. So I've sanded all these and all along here. These I still have to do. You can see the difference. It's at this point that I decide not to paint the leg assembly. It's made of solid wood and has a nice subtle grain, so I think what I'll do is I'll just do a light paint wash to get rid of the yellow cast on the wood. Another day finished, and I have got more sanded, although it probably doesn't look too different. Anyways, the face frame of the whole dresser is sanded to 120. I'm going to lightly go over it with 150 before I put a finish on it. And I've sanded all the base and the legs, which are over there somewhere. So it's actually looking pretty good. It's, you know, I thought it was a really cheap, crappy piece of furniture to begin with, but, you know it's got masonite on the drawer fronts and the tops and the sides, but underneath all that, it's solid wood. So it is structurally very, very sound. One of the most important things about painting laminate is to use a sealer of some sort over the top before you apply the paint. This allows the paint to adhere evenly to the entire surface. I happen to have a clear coat by Zinsser, but you can use any kind of high adhesion primer as well. Remember when I was pulling all the nails out of the handles earlier in the video? Well, I thought I might reuse them, but I couldn't get exactly the same size wood. So since I needed 3 more anyhow, I just bought new wood and cut and shaped them myself. I made an initial shallow cut on my wood, and then I raised the blade and went over it to make the final cut. The reason I did this was because I'm always a bit nervous about kickback when I'm doing a very narrow cut close to the fence, so I figured scoring it would make it less likely to bind. Now that I have all the handles cut to size, I'm making a beveled cut along the length of them. Here's what they're looking like now. I'll make one more straight cut along the length of the edge so there's a little lip to make it easier to grab onto when pulling the handle open. It's way easier to show you than try to explain it, so once I'm all done with it, I'll take some footage and show you. Yesterday when I seal coated the outside, I never did the face frame. So today I am just using a white primer to hand paint it since it's too cold to spray outside. Here's the last handle that I haven't painted the wash on. This is the natural color of the wood. It's very white. The next step is to attach the handles I made to the fronts of the drawers. And the way I'm going to do that is, here I'll show you. So here is the handle, it goes on like that. What I'll be able to do once they're in place is sand a little bit of an overhang on the edge here, which I'm expecting because they were a tiny little bit too long. I'll sand it so it's even with each side. Then I will remove the handles and I will be able to spray paint the drawers along with the dresser. And I'm doing this step right now so that I don't have to fiddle around with drilling holes after everything's painted. It's the less, the less handling I do after the painting, the better, so that I don't scratch it up. The reason I'm putting 4 screws into the handle is because I don't want to glue them, just in case somebody wants to take them off in the future. Okay, so I marked where I wanted the screws to go. Making sure it's flush on the top and about the same on each side. Looks good. So now I can drill. I'm hand screwing them in because I don't want to use the drill and go a little bit too far and then punch through the front. Because these screws are 1 inch. And I think, yeah, it's just over 1 inch. the width that I'm screwing to is just over 1 inch, so I don't have a lot of play in terms of driving the screw in. There we go. Looks good. I decided at the last minute to give the drawer fronts an extra layer of primer. I can still see a bit of the texture of the fiberboard, so adding another layer can't hurt. I've given all the drawer fronts a coat of paint, sprayed on a coat of paint. They all look pretty good except for this one. Let me show you. See if I can catch the angle. See how you can see all sort of the pit marks? That marking is not from bad spraying. It's actually in the surface of the drawer, and I didn't notice it after I primed the drawer. I didn't notice any of the pit marks, probably because it was flat paint and it wasn't showing up, where this has got a satin sheen on it, so it shows up. So can't let this one go because it, you know, it looks pretty bad. All the other ones are perfectly smooth. So I've got a couple options. Maybe what happened, maybe this was one of the drawers that had all the sticks applied to it and I just didn't sand it well enough to smooth. That's a possibility. I don't really know. The other possibility is maybe I sanded too much. I really don't know what happened to this one. But I have two options. I'm going to try to sand it some more and see if I can sand it back down. And if that doesn't get it perfectly smooth, then I'll just have to fill all the little holes with some sort of filler. Maybe I can... I'm just thinking, sorry, I'm pausing because I'm just thinking of what I'm going to do. Maybe what I can do is I can thin out some wood filler and just give it a skim coat of wood filler so that, because they're very shallow. The holes and pit marks are just shallow, so it's not going to take much to fill them. So sanding first and let's see what happens. Ha! It worked. I sanded it all down and there is no pit marks in the finish. They're all gone. And I just rolled on a coat of the paint. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring it out to the garage today because it's warm enough outside. And I will give it one final coat, spray coat. Excellent. We've definitely come a long way on this one. I really had my doubts at the beginning, but I figured it was worth a try, and although it is a departure from my normal refinishing videos, it's no less satisfying to take something that was seemingly worthless and give it a redo and another chance to be useful. Thanks for tuning in and supporting my channel, and if you enjoyed the content, please consider giving me a comment, a like, or a subscribe. Catch you next time.